Get your Amazon Prime free trial started today. We at Cigars and Sea Stories love Amazon Prime. We use it all the time. I myself, Mike Penny, am a member of Amazon Prime. I use it for live streaming on music, video, things of that nature. Sign up for a free Amazon trial, 30-day trial right now. You can find it on the resources page over at cigarsandseastories.com/resources. Take a look at that ASAP. Folks, if you haven't already done so, check out Audible. You can get your latest podcast. You can get the best in audiobooks. And if you're like me, you're always on the road. You're traveling around, in and out of airports, stuff like that. Always got the earbuds in. Check out Audible. You can get a free trial today when you go to audibletrial.com/cigarsandc. That's audibletrial.com/cigarsandc. Check it out. Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea.
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, the Cigars and Sea Stories team sits down to discuss craziness and the Marine Corps birthday, which is just fucking fantastic, and Veterans Day also. So we're going to be talking about everything. Boys, how's life treating you?
Good.
It's
Could
just
be better.
a barrel of fucking jackassery.
Hell yes. Dude, I'm telling you, look, I'm not the biggest motard in the world. I want you to know. But, I am fucking motivated on this Marine Corps birthday. No shit. I really am. I don't know why. I woke up with a fucking freedom heart on. I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Because all right, God's honest truth, I woke up feeling like shit in all actuality. The aches, the pains, the creaks, the moans, I needed to take like a 25, 30-minute shower. I felt like a little bitch. And then I stretched it out. I numbed it out. I had, I ran out of Counter-Strike coffee. Otherwise, I was going to be able to finish my morning off strong. But when I hit the airwaves as far as Facebook, I know, I ran out of my crack. Counter-Strike coffee, 10% off. Cigars and Sea. Use coupon code Cigars and Sea. Insert intravenous line of Counter-Strike coffee into Mike Penny with Cigars and Sea. Get 10% off. No, man, I'm telling you, I woke up feeling like shit, but then I wound up hitting the airwaves with Facebook. And usually I don't really enjoy social media, but I love talking to people who listen to the show. I absolutely love it. And to wake up and have listeners say happy birthday was it was motivating as shit. You know what I mean? Happy birthday. I'm just a big goddamn fan, of the Marine Corps birthday. I just really am. It warms my heart. Ra?
So Bennett, what was it like giving the speech? That's a pretty big deal.
When the Continental Congress raised up 2 battalions of Marines in 1775, it launched the greatest fighting force the world has ever known. A force revered globally for its uncommon valor, unparalleled adaptability, and ferocious tenacity.
Right.
Over the past 240 years, the battlefields and equipment have changed, but the spirit of the United States in every climb and place. Why wouldn't I?
Dude.
Why'd you stop him? He was 80% through.
I have a freedom boner.
Oh, no, it's much
100 years ago, Marine Corps Recruit Depot Paris Island opened its doors as the first base dedicated solely to making Marines. Since then, hundreds of thousands of men and women have been forged in the elite warriors at Paris Island. Marine Corps Recruit Depot San Diego and the Basic School in Quantico. Each recruit had a different reason for stepping onto the yellow footprints, but all are unified by the unintangible traits that characterize United States Marines and the remarkable legacy that has carried across generations. Whether you're served on the hallowed grounds of Bella Wood, fought in the iconic island battlefields of World War II, navigated the harsh terrains and climates of the Chosin Reservoir or Vietnam, conducted assaults during Desert Storm, march on Baghdad, fought in close combat in Fallujah, or conducted combat operations in Afghanistan, everyone who wears the Eagle Globe at anchor is a member of that storied legacy. As we celebrate the 240th birthday of our Corps, we pay tribute to all who have served, and we remember our fallen heroes. We take great pride in our legacy and in the fine men and women who carry our colors into the future. And we extend heartfelt thanks to our families for their steadfast support. Our 26th Commandant General Lewis Wilson once said, "In the last analysis, what the Marine Corps becomes is what we make of it during our respective watches." And that watch of each Marine is not confined to the time he spends on active duty. It lasts as long as he is proud to bear the title United States Marine. Thank you all for guarding the legacy of our Corps during your watch. Happy birthday, Marines. Semper Fidelis. General Robert B. Neller, United States Marine Corps, Commandant.
Yeah, that dude's awesome. I served under him at 3rd Marine Division when he was the division commander out there.
That's
good guy.
Shit.
So
That's
that
solid.
was one. That was the part of the freaking shit that I did. It was pretty good. It went okay, I think. Tim was there. He could tell you.
I love it, man.
Well,
Tim,
wish-
freshly shorn.
You know,
okay.
Freshly shorn, cleaned up.
No, yeah, you were looking baby smooth there, Timo. You were looking real good.
Yeah, man. He
You were
looked like
set.
it was some old school shit.
You were looking like Monday morning, ready for PT. You were like,
Yeah.
"Hey there, I got my ID card out, and I'm checking hair length. We're gonna make sure everybody had their glow belts. Are
and
we
I'm
tucked in?
checking
Are we
everything.
tucked in? Better grab that tampon string. Are we tucked in? There we go. White PT socks only.
Well, I hadn't put a
In your
uniform
go
on since I
faster.
retired a year and a half ago, so I figured I better shave and, get a fresh
Right.
haircut and all that.
Is the uniform loose,
If you gotta wear
tight?
your evening dress. Oh, it fit the same, man. I hadn't changed.
No, it looked great. I must say, in person, it was quite sexy.
You wanted to hug me, I know.
I
Just
did.
Until
I did hug you.
Dude,
did
I
hug.
gotta say, I like the evening dress. That was a good idea, man. Is that
It
what you
was.
wore when you were on active duty?
Sometimes I went with dress blue alphas, and sometimes I went with the evening dress, just depending on what kind of mood I was in.
Hey,
If some
real
of my bros wanted to wear the evening dress, together, we did that. But if everybody was just wearing the alphas, then I did that. Kind of go with the flow.
Did you know? Okay, so shameless plug. I threw this fun fact up on bloodstripes.com. Did you know that Marines could wear French cuff? And if you did you ever wear them?
Well, on the evening dress, it's you don't have any choice but to wear a French cuff. That's how
Right.
they come. Yeah.
No, but they make French cuff khaki service shirts.
Yeah, you can get them. You can get them from the Marine shop at Quantico. They'll make them for you. They're authorized.
And you are authorized to wear them if you're a staff NCO or an officer.
Yes, that is correct. I have never worn them, though. Staff NCOs are also authorized to wear the officer alpha, the service alpha coat, which is, if you look at them side by side, they're much nicer, higher quality, all that kind of stuff.
They are better people in general,
Well,
They're more worthy.
They're a higher
I
stature
wasn't-
of human being.
I was talking about the cloth. So,
Oh,
but
Yes,
the pockets are actually, they have billows, so you could actually put stuff in the officer's pockets. Whereas our pockets, there's no way you'd ever put anything in those things.
I'd be
right?
walking around like Dick fucking Winters in those goddamn alphas.
Exactly.
With like ready to jump in on fucking D-Day with shit in my pockets like an asshat. That's what I would look like.
But you can do that in the officer's version.
Right.
But, if staff NCOs wear it, we have to have the pockets sewn down so that they don't billow. Because God forbid we look too much like the officers. You wouldn't want that.
Right.
So I just always wore the enlisted, blouse instead of the officer one. You can also wear the what do you call it? The high top frickin' Chucks, the shoes.
Oh yeah. Those
the
are nice.
Chukkas. Yeah.
Chukkas. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Chukkas. Yep.
Dude.
I never wore those either.
We were at a ball in Laughlin one time, and there was a staff NCO who was rocking service alphas to the ball, and he was shit-faced, and he got a hold of his Captain Sam Brown belt and was rocking it around with like the Mameluke. But it was sheathed. He was good. He was sashaying in this motherfucker. He was like, check out my sweet belt, my patent leather belt. He was shit-faced drunk. God damn, who was that?
Have you guys heard of the old tradition of carrier qualls at the birthday ball?
No.
You've never heard of this?
Carrier qualls?
Carrier qualls. So this is something that was made famous by aviators, of course, because they have all the fun, right? And, we have our share of aviators. My brother was one. He was a Harrier pilot. And, Marine Corps aviators, to their credit, they're way better than any old pilot from the Air Force or whatever, because they can land on this little postage stamp thing called an aircraft carrier in the middle of the freaking ocean.
Right.
In high seas and storms and shit.
Man,
and they can plop that thing down and snag that wire. Anyway, so they're pretty good. But so carrier quals in the context of a birthday ball is when everybody gets so shithoused that you basically can't see straight, and parts of uniforms start coming off, and basically, you kind of you take the long banquet tables that everybody's sitting at having dinner. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully dinner's gone by this time.
Right, because you're shit-faced.
Well, that becomes the flight deck.
The flight deck.
Yeah.
Right.
So guys take a leap and, with copious amounts of grog or beer or whatever to wet it down and make it slippery, you go sliding across the flight deck, in whatever's left of your uniform at that point.
Oh, you silly fly boys.
You don't see that much anymore because nowadays you can't afford to get in that kind of trouble because the Marine Corps has turned into this zero defect mentality kind of thing where you just can't have fun. But, you can't even get a DUI without losing your career. You get a DUI, you're done. You're literally done.
So that's why you have to go to balls when you're retired or out. Right. And you can have way more fun.
There you go.
But then they just arrest you,
It's just funny because they get rid of the best people by doing that. When they're trying to thin the herd with that mentality,
right?
They're getting rid of the best people because most effective Marines are fucking field Marines. Who the fuck cares about garrison in the long? If you want to win battles, like I get it. There's the prim and proper. Just give me a training area and a bunch of.
See, but I prefer good leadership also though, where you remember he was a staff sergeant at the time. He no longer is anymore. But he would walk up to me in Laughlin. It happened in Laughlin. He walks up to me and he was like, "Give me your khakis." And I'm like, "Staff sergeant, I'm not wearing any khakis." And he's like, "You know what the fuck I said? Give me your goddamn khakis." And I'm like, "Staff sergeant, I'm wearing dress blues. These are blues." He's like, "Your khakis. You ain't driving nowhere." And that's what I would prefer. You know what I mean? A platoon sergeant who's going to be like, "Give me all your fucking car keys. Just throw that shit, in a duffel bag or whatever. You guys ain't going anywhere. We're chilling in a hotel."
It's like
just get drunk as fuck and pass out in your own room.
Whenever we had shit out on the beach, and this is when I was in the Corps, we would have events down at the beach, right? Whether it's a mess night or whatever. And basically,
you were with Second Recon, who was living at the beach back in those days.
Well, yes, that is true. But anyway, it was fun because we would
Google Maps where the hell
pretty much they'd set up cots and shit for people. It's basically you weren't leaving the beach. That's all it comes down to.
I'm sorry, is this
we took care of each other like that? Yes, Onslow.
Okay, I'm gonna look this shit up.
So we basically took care of each other in that aspect and wouldn't let guys across the bridge.
Yeah, man.
They would get fucked up by the MPs and shit.
There you go.
So the only thing you can do is drown in the ocean.
Pretty much. And there was plenty of that close to happening. So,
but you're all expert swimmers, so that's no problem.
Yeah, but when you're loaded, it doesn't matter.
When you've got a bunch of booze in your body.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see
So-
what you're talking about. There's that canal there. You know, I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
not
called
familiar
It's
with
the
it. That's
intercoastal
cool.
waterway.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
damned.
Ships go down that thing.
That was some crazy
Really?
shit.
No
We're like
shit.
sitting out on the back porch. We had like a grill area back there, and we'd sit out there and cook and smoke and joke and shit and drink beer and play volleyball and whatnot. But you'd sit and watch these like luxury yachts cruising down the internet or down the intercoastal waterway, freaking just, and you could like basically reach out and touch them almost. It was freaking hysterical. Do they still? Yeah, they probably still have to allow that, but I don't know. You know, with the way that like the bases are all locked down and shit now.
Right.
No, man, that's the intercoastal waterway.
I
That's
understand that, but
there is no lockdown. It's open
Right.
to traffic. In fact, I know a guy that helps run the drawbridge right there
Right.
at Onslow Beach.
OMG.
Yeah,
I
he's a
think
former
Drawbridge operator is right up there with Zamboni driver.
it's
dude.
Can I
pretty
just
that's a
throw
badass
that?
job.
Can I just
Yeah.
throw that? Well,
Yeah.
because it is. It's cool, but it's, you know, it's cool and it's how unique it is.
Yes.
Like, what do you
Well,
do for a
it
living?
doesn't pay
I
shit.
operate a drawbridge. Like, are you like, for real? Are you fucking with me? That's
it
one of
doesn't pay
those.
shit.
No, I
Is
think
that
he
what
makes
you
like
said,
$8
Tim?
an hour or something like that.
Oh shit. Well, like if you go down to like Wilmington, you know, the Cape Fear Bridge
Yeah,
that goes across that bridge, those fuckers make like 60 G's a year.
Well, that's a much bigger bridge.
It is, but still.
Yeah,
Still the same
this is
idea.
This is a very limited traffic bridge as
Whatever.
bridges go. But yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's actually a captain with one of the local fire departments, Hubert Volunteer Fire Department.
Ah,
Yeah, was a Marine back in
I
the day.
thought you were gonna
that's
be.
nice.
I thought he was saying a captain for like bridge operator, making
No,
like
man.
$8 an hour, but he's got to be a captain. That's some bullshit.
No, man, he's just a bridge operator.
And where's Second Recon at now? Courthouse Bay?
Yeah, so they're right off 172, as you know the main drag.
Yeah.
right there in Courthouse Bay. Yeah,
Heading out to Sneed's Ferry.
yes,
Heading
sir.
out there to the Silver and Gold and Sneed's Ferry.
Yeah, the harbor site.
What the fuck is it called now? What's the name of the strip club that's there now? It's got to be a strip club.
Cherries is the only one I know of in Sneed's Ferry anymore. Yeah, there's the ones up in Jacksonville. Freaking Michael's very familiar with the Dirty Wood and
Well, one of the things that intrigued me about the Dirty Wood was because we went in there. We went in there at 1700 on like a Tuesday, right? Like right after class, no homework, no nothing, blah blah blah. Go in there.
yeah,
Did not
Tuesday, man. That's a
realize-
great day to party.
Did not realize that it opened up into the back, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
because we're there, you know, when old people are eating dinner, we decide it's a good idea to go to a strip club and then just spend the entire evening there, which was fantastic. Let me tell you what, that was one of those things, man. I don't consider it a rite of passage by any means, but go get drunk at the Driftwood because it's fun. Can I say that? Is that
Yeah,
am I allowed?
sure.
Because
Why
here's
not?
the thing: is when you've been drinking from 5 in the afternoon until like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden your buddy's like, "Let's do a shit ton of tequila shots," and you're like, "Yeah, duh, that's obvious." You know what I mean? And to quote Jim Brewer and steal his freaking joke, tequila shows up and he's like, "All right, everybody out." And just like wham, and I puked all over the main stage. I fucking projectile vomited, and they were like, "You gotta get the fuck out of here." And then I went outside and puked all over the side of my buddy's truck, and the bouncer like, "Oh." He was good with me though. I was like, "Hey, bro, I was just fucking tanked, man. I'm really drunk, man." And he's like, "All right, I get it, Marine." And just like manhandles me out the front door and bounces me off my buddy's truck. And I'm like, "Yes, sweet."
So this
And
is
then I
probably a
puked.
good time to bring up the fact that you are actually in a state of sobriety.
Right.
How long now? How long have you been on the wagon?
Over 5 years.
Over 5 years been on the wagon.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. Oh.
And so
this was a while ago. Yeah, this wasn't last Tuesday.
Wanton drunkenness and stuff like that will get you in trouble.
Right. Debauchery.
We're just merely kind of traipsing down,
memory lane.
Dude.
Lane, so to speak. And
all right, so last time I was
everything I did was entirely legal.
I
was over 21. I had a ride home. Wait, no. Yeah, I had a ride home.
Up, right?
If we're gonna tell those, types of sea stories, we need to divert back over to the ball. I mean, we're sitting here on the birthday. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we were talking about the ball.
Yes.
Oh, so while we're talking, I am online, which I do sometimes, and I pulled up. I pulled up General John A. Lejeune's birthday message. Right. So.
Lejeune.
Yeah. So you had.
Everybody's got to get one.
Commandant's method.
Whenever we do this, our listeners hate us. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. What was that?
It's that no one gets it. That's what
actually, Tim, hold on real quick.
What?
So, because we already did this little recording once about our theory, but if we put the theory back out because the theory got cut.
Oh,
listen,
yeah, that's right.
This is you too. So everyone just listen, and here is the theory of why we say, all right, because us as white people, for the most part, butcher the shit out of like the French language, right? I shouldn't say white people, as Americans.
What are French? Are they not white?
So we butcher the shit out of everyone else's languages, right? So what we've come to the conclusion of is because General Lejeune was from Louisiana, obviously there's some French background there, correct?
Yes, Cajun.
So if you say Lejeune, as it's spelled, if you say it by French pronunciation, it wouldn't be Lejeune, it would be Lejeune.
No, but it's Lejeune because it's not French, it's Cajun, which is not the same. It's French ancestry, but it's Cajun. And that's not the same as French.
Well, I'm saying I like to, because if they're going to corrupt it in my mind, where I understand that the family and whatever says it's Lejeune, but I am Frenching it up and saying it's Lejeune.
I like
I
Lejeune
think it's only like one family member.
And I bet if you went back far enough with this Cajun bullshit, that it would be Lejeune. All right? Lejeune.
Perhaps.
Lejeune. So from now on, it shouldn't be Lejeune because it just grates. It's like you've ripped my freaking face across the cheese grater when you say Lejeune. Right. Everyone.
So here's my thought. My thought is that the guy was a lieutenant general, right? He was the commandant of the Marine Corps. He was part of our illustrious history. The man was revered in his own day.
Correct.
So my thought is that however he pronounced his name is probably how every Marine on the planet pronounced it. You know what I'm saying?
How did he pronounce it?
The way we're all freaking pronouncing it. If we've been saying Lejeune all these years, it's probably because that's how he pronounced it. I'm pretty sure nobody else came up with a different pronunciation somewhere along the way and just said, "Oh, you know what? Screw General Lejeune. We're going to pronounce it Lejeune."
Yeah,
we're going to wait for another 50 years for some
That's
asshole
a good point, Tim, and I think you're probably right.
Well, actually, if you're really looking at the phonetics of a language, then you got to take common parlance of the day into play. We speak very differently in comparison to how the Brady Bunch spoke when you hear them, and then in comparison to how freaking, black and white TV. So the inflection and all the way that you commonly use your tongue is completely different. So it can change in that regard. So I tend to disagree.
But this is something that's been read out in ceremonies ever since 1921.
Yeah,
because he gave his birthday message in 1921.
I have never heard anyone up there giving those speeches say it wrong. That's what I'm saying. Fernando Rollo here is
Fernando Rollo.
Jesus.
No, I'm You know, some
since
staff NCO
1921.
messed it up. He doesn't know how to say it. Somebody doesn't.
Yeah, that's the other ideology too. Is maybe like we're playing the game telephone throughout history, and yeah, we see it in written word, but it's
Right.
like, how do you pronounce that shit?
I
I don't know.
But you know what?
Whatever.
I said
But
Lejeune.
Lejeune.
So freaking Lejeune. That's it.
I would agree. It should be Lejeune. And
Lejeune.
that's what it's been ever since forever. So
Some freaking
Lejeune.
third cousin or whatever wants to come and complain about it now and make us all change the way we say it. Screw him. He's not a Marine anyway.
Lejeune.
I
Yeah.
hear you.
So
Anyway.
What did the
sorry,
13th
Tim.
Commandant say anyhow?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got the
Do it.
original birthday message in front
Read
of me.
it.
What Bennett had read was the current Commandant's message for this birthday. And what is done in Marine Corps ceremonies all around the world for birthday balls is the republishing of of General John A. Lejeune's birthday message, which was published in November of 1921. So I will read it in its entirety. It's not that long, so give me just a little bit of leeway.
I'm
It's
fucking
actually shorter
settling
than
in,
General
man.
Mallory's.
Yeah,
This
it's
is the
just
most
shorter than-
comfortable
General.
I've ever been while listening to this. I want you to know.
The most
Usually I gotta like stand at attention and stuff.
Oh no, you can like kick back and relax.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
it's just me.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. On November 1st, 1921, John A. Lejeune, 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps, directed that a reminder of the honorable service of the Corps be published by every command to all Marines throughout the globe on the birthday of the Corps. Since that day, Marines have continued to distinguish themselves on many battlefields and in foreign shores, in war and peace. On this birthday of the Corps, therefore, in compliance with the will of the 13th Commandant, Article 38, United States Marine Corps Manual, edition of 1921, is republished as follows. How do you like that? Is that a good radio play?
Dude, I thought Jocelyn's face was gonna melt off, dude. We were trying so hard not to laugh. Oh man, yeah, it was
It was fantastic.
it was
But it was good, right?
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Nailed it.
But
You
we were
literally-
dying on this side,
Oh
man.
my god, that was perfect. That
Oh.
was brilliant.
I haven't got to the message.
Oh man, I thought Jocelyn, his face was gonna rip off or like melt. He was trying to hold it back so bad.
You know when they
Oh man,
when they
that was
play those
good.
the pre-recorded shit at like ceremonies, like
Yeah.
the big like change of commands and that
Oh,
shit. You
man.
sounded just like that dude, man.
Well, I sat through enough of them.
Oh, that was you nailed it. You
Nailed
fucking
it.
nailed it, America.
Oh, God,
Hit
that was-
rewind.
That was like
Read
Hit rewind. Hey, hey, Jim, we're gonna need to record this for the next ball. Hey, Jim, can you grab the tape deck? This is HQMC. We gotta record that for the next fucking ball. Grab
Get
the
that
tape
guy
deck.
on.
The
You gotta
Luddites,
find that guy.
the Luddites up there have got a PFC who's winding tape. It's like, hey, buddy, we need that. Is that blank? We've got a recording.
It's been my life's goal to do that recording. And,
You nailed it.
Make a living on it.
All right,
so
so finish it up.
So, republished as follows. On November 10, 1775, a Corps of Marines was created by a resolution of the Continental Congress. Since that date, many thousand men have borne the name Marine. In memory of them, it is fitting that we who are Marines should commemorate the birthday of our Corps by calling to mind the glories of its long and illustrious history. The record of our Corps is one which will bear comparison with that of the most famous military organizations in the world's history. During 90 of the 146 years of its existence, the Marine Corps has been in action against the nation's foes. From the Battle of Trenton to the Argonne, Marines have won foremost honors in war, and in the long eras of tranquility at home, generation after generation of Marines have grown gray in war in both hemispheres, and in every corner of the seven seas that our country and its citizens might enjoy peace and security. In every battle and skirmish since the birth of our Corps, Marines have acquitted themselves with the greatest distinction, winning new honors on each occasion until the term Marine has come to signify all that is highest in military efficiency and soldierly virtue. This high name of distinction and soldierly repute we who are Marines today have received from those who preceded us in the Corps. With it, we also received from them the eternal spirit which has animated our Corps from generation to generation and has been the distinguishing mark of the Marines in every age. So long as that spirit continues to flourish, Marines will be found equal to every emergency in the future, as they have been in the past, and the men of our nation will regard us as worthy successors to the long line of illustrious men who have served as soldiers of the sea since the founding of the Corps. The inspiring message of our 13th Commandant has left its mark in the hearts and minds of all Marines, by deed and act, from Guadalcanal to Iwo Jima, from Incheon to the Korean Armistice, in interventions from Lebanon to the Dominican Republic, and from the opening battles in Vietnam to the Mayaguez rescue, Marines have continued to epitomize those qualities which are their legacy. The success which they have achieved in combat and the faith they have borne in peace will continue. The Commandant and our many friends have added their hearty praise and congratulations on this, our 240th birthday. Dun, dun, dun. And that's it. Are you all like
fantastic,
standing at attention?
Dude,
in more ways than one, my man.
It feels like people can't write that well anymore, or at least articulate themselves.
No,
Well,
I
it's-
I
can
think
tell
the
you
art
as
of
somebody
speech
that
is-
can.
It's funny because when I read this, I almost have to say it the way I was doing it at first because it doesn't sound right. So I don't make it dramatic because it is so dramatic, you know?
That's
I mean,
true.
I remember my first birthday ball, you know, as a freaking Lance Corporal. And I remember it being read by some dude that had a voice, you know? And it just seems like if somebody that doesn't have that kind of voice to give it their proper treatment, you know, it doesn't seem right. You know, it seems like they're not doing it justice if they can't read it right. But that's just me, you know.
I can tell you who can write a badass speech is General Kelly.
PX?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was, yeah. Well, that's old school. He was coming out when I came in.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting ready to leave. Yeah.
So there was a
Paul Xavier.
Xavier.
It's funny because he was really, he was kind of, I don't know, you might say he was one of those guys that liked to dress up and look fancy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's a good commandant, but he liked to dress up in his evening dress and all that crap. And then his successor was none other than Al Gray, who I don't know if he ever put his blues on, but he was in his daggum camis most of the time, got his official portrait done in camis for the very first time in history. And that's pretty cool. So, you guys ever been to the Hall of Commandants?
No, where's that?
It's at Quantico. You can see there's a hallway in one of the I can't remember what building it's in now, but anyway, there's a hallway that has all the portraits of every commandant from the first to the current, and the only one in camis is General Gray. Kind of cool.
Jesus.
Yeah, I got to meet him back in '87, and he's actually the reason I got to come back in the Marine Corps. After my broken time, you know, I was out for like 5 years, and I was on recruiter aid trying to put myself back in, and bought myself a ticket to some Navy League speech he was giving in Kansas City, and got to meet him afterwards. And by the way, he was in his dress whites, so yeah, he does dress up occasionally. But
Right.
yeah, so he gave me his card. His business card was camouflage, which was badass. I've got it laminated somewhere, tucked away in a safe place. But yeah, good dude.
I wasn't talking about PX Kelly. I was talking about John Kelly.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that's a lot more recent.
A lot more.
Yeah.
You ever listen to that speech that he gave about the two Marines in Iraq that were shooting the two guys that put themselves in the path of that truck that was with the suicide bomber?
I remember the story. I don't recall if I ever heard his speech.
He actually gave a speech about it. It's actually in the quotes and quips book.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, someday we'll be able to read it in print, but
yeah, someday.
Someday. Yeah, but that was a great speech there. speaking of speeches.
So Bennett,
Yeah.
tell us about the difference between the way the Marine Corps celebrates birthdays and the way the Army does or does not celebrate its birthday.
Oh, the Army.
Since you were both.
But I never celebrated the Army birthday. And as it stands now, I can't even tell you when it was.
Now, is that because of your prejudice because you had been a Marine before, or is that because the Army just generally doesn't celebrate its own birthday?
I think it's because the Army generally doesn't celebrate its own birthday, at least not in the same fashion. We also, though, because I was a Marine, I had to do 0 prior training to going in the Army. So
I should tell you something.
I literally, when I went into the Army, about a week prior, I had been sitting on a couch playing Nintendo in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then the very next week was standing in front of a sergeant first class at Fort Drum saying, "Yep, I'm one of those guys, Sergeant first class," because I didn't know at the time that you could call Army folk that are E5 to E7 sergeant, no matter what they are, because you call a staff sergeant a sergeant in the fucking Marines, you get your ass peeled.
Oh, you will be fucked.
Yeah.
Fucked. And you sure as fuck aren't going to call a gunny a sergeant. So, but a sergeant first class who, and is equivalent to a gunny, was like, no,
he's not equivalent to a gunny.
You know what I'm saying. His pay grade is the same. So he looks down at his paperwork and goes, Tanton, you can call me Sergeant. And I was like, wow, that's fucking weird. But I'm like unshaven. I have no uniforms. I'm in civilian clothes. I'm reporting. And that was weird shit too. I was like, I'm reporting in civilian fucking clothes. Like, you don't do that shit in the Marines. Fuck no.
Well, if they hadn't given you a uniform yet, it's kind of hard to do otherwise.
But it still was uncomfortable as shit.
Yeah,
I'm like, totally felt like I was doing something wrong. And so it was crazy.
So all the sergeant first classes around you were going, "Good job, soldier," and the Marine inside of you was telling you, "Go thrash yourself. Go thrash yourself.
Smoke yourself unmercifully in the fucking pit."
Yeah,
So I didn't have uniforms for like 3 days.
Oh, so God.
I am literally in going through receiving, and then I didn't have name tapes for the first freaking week. It was a shit show.
So you were like a spook or something. I thought you were like from.
Thought I was like fucking They thought I was
like CID or something.
Squirrel Club.
Like total CID infiltrator or some shit.
Just look at him and be like, I'm fucking recon.
Well, the first time I ever wore my alphas and the service alphas, which is the green uniform that the Army used to have. Actually, I guess they don't have it anymore. I guess all they have is dress blues now. What their version of dress blues. But the first time I ever wore that shit was hysterical because, people were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Right.
And then all of a sudden I walk out with like service stripes and fucking, like 4 rows of ribbons and, shit like that. They're like, "What the fuck? Who the fuck is this guy?" So that shit was pretty funny.
Yeah. I got an interesting story about coming back in. Of course, I came back in the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps before.
Right.
And then I came back in the Marine Corps again after 5 years. I had a little bit of reserve time thrown in there, but I had been a sergeant on active duty in the Grunts, and I was the chief scout for State Platoon 3-5, surveillance and target acquisition platoons, what they call sniper platoon now.
Right.
And so I was kind of somebody back in the day, when I was young and cool and all that.
When I was back in the shit.
Yeah, and then
Pink mist.
Yeah, and then 5 years later, I come back in and they make me a parachute rigger. And now, don't get me wrong,
which is still a cool fucking job.
It was a really cool job. I had a great time, met some great people, but it's a very, very different community, right? And so I had to go to school, right? I already had been to jump school, which that's a prerequisite. You can't go to rigger school. It's the only MOS in the Marine Corps that you have to be jump qualified to have. You can be a reconnaissance Marine and not be jump qualified. You can be a MARSOC operator and not be jump qualified, but you cannot go to school to become a parachute rigger unless you're already jump qualified.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's an interesting little sidebar. But so I came back in and they sent me straight to Fort Lee, Virginia, where rigger school is. It's an Army school, but we have a Marine detachment there. And it was funny. I checked in over the weekend, which happens a lot to people, it seems. And having done this once or twice before, I knew to put on my alphas and do the whole check-in thing correctly, right? So I find the staff duty officer who's a gunny there at the barracks, and I checked in with him, and he signed my orders and checked me into the logbook, and I went back to the barracks, found my room, and I knew where I needed to be on Monday morning, so that was it. So Monday, I'm with some working party, cleaning the barracks or something. And somebody says, "Hey, First Sergeant wants to see you." I'm like, "All right." And so I go, I think we were in PT gear, so I had to go throw my uniform on or whatever. And I ran over to the First Sergeant's office and, knocked at his hatch and stood politely outside the door waiting for him to acknowledge me because, oh, by the way, when I came back in, they made me a Lance Corporal again. So I had been a sergeant. And now I'm a Lance Corporal again. And
talk about kicking that nuts.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't go back in.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was a kick in the crotch, man. Because I mean, I was a platoon sergeant, and leading a group of freaking snake eating grunts. Now I'm just a peon at school.
Fucking Lance Corporal.
Yeah, I'm a boot ass Lance Corporal in an entry level school on an Army base, no less.
Well, you're a salty ass Lance Corporal.
Well, and that was about to be a problem. So I'm standing at the First Sergeant's hatch, and this guy was fatter than any Marine I've ever met. Right? This was a guy who's obviously on his way out the door, and they obviously put him at a Marine detachment because nobody wanted him in the fleet, right? So he sits there and he's like, I can see that he's not looking at anything. He's not doing anything. He's just like staring at a spot on his desk, and he's tapping his pencil, tap, 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 tap. And then he flings his pencil across the room, and then he like slaps his hands on his desks and he leans back and he's like, "Oh God. So what do we have here?" I'm like, "Oh geez, here we go." And he says, "Well, get in here." I'm like, "All right." So I come on in and I report, Lance Corporal Parkhurst reporting his order. And he goes, "So what's your problem, Marine?" And I know already what this is about, but I'm playing stupid. I'm a Lance Corporal, so I'm going to act like one. So I'm like, First Sergeant, I don't know what you mean. He goes, "You obviously have some kind of a problem, Marine." I said, "I don't know what you mean, First Sergeant." I see he's got my SRB sitting on his desk. So if he was any kind of a First Sergeant, he would have already taken a look at this thing, right? What this was about was the fact that I'm wearing, like Bennett said, I'm wearing like 4 rows of ribbons on my alphas, including a freaking combat action ribbon and an Navy achievement with a V and right. Some other stuff and this gunny obviously thought that some Lance Corporal shouldn't be wearing stuff like that. Oh, and the 3 hash marks that I already had.
Right.
Probably was a problem. Oh, not 3. Was it? How many? 2. I'm sorry. I had 2 hash marks at the time. And anyway, so he thought that was a little odd, and he must have given the First Sergeant a little heads up about me. Well, the First Sergeant failed to do his research. You know how we do market research when we build business plans?
Right.
Well, First Sergeants don't always do that. And so I said, he told me, he said, "So what makes you think you can wear a bunch of unauthorized freaking fruit salad on your uniform?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go. Here is it going to get good. It's going to get good."
There we go.
And I said, "Well, First Sergeant, I see that you have my SRB. If you had looked at it, you would see that I rate everything that I was wearing." And so he proceeds to flip it open and looking through, trying to find the page. And he finds it. and he's like, being real just like whipping the pages, like in a real disrespectful manner. I don't like the way he handled my SRB. It was very disrespectful. Anyway,
Right.
he finally gets to the page and he starts reading it. And he starts reading the awards and stuff. And he looks at my page 3, which is the chronology that shows where I've been. And then he's like, huh, yeah, well, get the hell out of here. Get back to work.
Yeah.
Okay. And no apology, no nothing. It's like, I don't need an apology, but, just an acknowledgement that, well, sorry, I'm not trying to fuck with you,
I used to be a goddamn snake eater, bitch face, fuck.
Yeah. But anyway, it was sad. I got a lot of over the next few years until I started picking up some rank again. So that kind of sucked.
See, if you had never gotten out, you probably would have been a sergeant major.
Nah, I probably would have died in a blaze of glory and freaking.
That's probably true too.
Do that in a gutter somewhere.
Yeah, fucking dead, just dead.
Yeah.
But
that was interesting.
No big whoop.
Big whoop.
No big whoop.
I have to say though, I definitely miss Onslow Beach.
It's nice.
Right? I miss Del Mar.
Well, the drop zone they got right off of Onslow Beach.
Is it Panther? Is that what it was?
DZ Ocean. It's just
DZ Ocean, yeah.
Yeah. So that's right in the middle of one of the largest hammerhead breeding grounds in the world.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's about a quarter of a mile right off the end of Risley Pier.
Yeah. So imagine
we used to fin through there all the time.
Yeah. So imagine jumping out of an airplane at 1,200 feet and you look down and all you see are these little shadows shaped like hammerheads, schooling around underneath you.
Crazy.
It's like, that's gotta suck.
Well, I remember the first time we ever got into a helo, we were doing
fuck that.
We were doing helo casting and shit. And we were like, yeah, we had heard the stories, and we actually saw boats out there filming for Shark Week and shit. And we're like, yeah, whatever. They're sharks, big whoop, And then the first time I ever flew over it in a helo, and you look down and you see, you're like,
there's a lot of them.
Your asshole puckers when you have to go in that water again. You're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, man. You very quickly go from worrying about drowning to not worrying about drowning at all. You're
not at all. Fuck
much more worried about getting eaten alive.
The United States Marine Corps, where we will drop your bitch ass in shark-infested waters.
I remember.
Ain't no cage, motherfucker. You gotta fin your
cage is here, bitch.
You gotta fin your camouflage ass all the way back in.
I remember we're sitting there finning,
sugar cookie,
and we're sitting there finning along, and you've got a swim buddy with you, and I
gotta be faster than your swim buddy. That's where pays to be a winner, folks. Pays to be a winner. It's like outrunning bears. You ain't gotta be faster than the bear. Just gotta be able to beat your buddy. Right. That's it. Just you want to be in the lead.
You can swim on that faster.
One. Right. Tip of the spear.
We have also had a lot of bottlenose dolphin in that area too. So
they'll rape you.
We're sitting there going through and swimming, true. And all of a sudden my buddy freaks the fuck out, dude. Freaks out. And I can't remember. I'm trying to think of who it was. But either way, he freaks out, and I'm not shitting you. This guy he turns, and he's heading towards shore, and he's like walking on water.
Oh, you're second.
Motherfucker.
Oh, and you're second.
I'm like, oh, fuck. What the fuck is going on? Oh, shit. And I actually hear somebody on the safety boat yell, shark.
Oh, God. Fuck that.
So
I'm going like,
yeah. So I'm like, my asshole fucked up. I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then probably about, I don't know, 15 seconds after that, and you can hear my buddy yelling, something fucking hit me. It fucking bumped me. Fucking what the, he's freaking the fuck out. Got his dive knife out, the whole thing. He's ready to hook and jab with a fucking shark, going down.
That's epic.
Going down in a blaze of glory. Well, come to find out, it was just a fucking dolphin. So.
Cigars and Sea Stories is proud proud to support and sling Counter-Strike coffee. Counter-Strike coffee, I want you to know, is meant to be drink black. Now, I myself love coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. I went away from black coffee for a little while. Needed the cream and sugar when I was rocking it with the generic blend. Counter-Strike coffee brought me back into the fold in a huge, huge way. They do a great dark roast. I'm a big fan of napalm. That's my fave. Smooth operator is good, though. It can go with cakes and pies, and I got a bit of a sweet tooth. I know a couple of us do, you know. And then also Firewatch. I mean, Firewatch, that's going to be the kick in the ass that you need in order to get your day going the right way. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't already done so, check out counterstrikecoffee.com. Use promo code Cigars and Sea. You will get 10% off. Again, that's counterstrikecoffee.com. Use promo code Cigars and Sea to get yourself 10% off.
Well, that would still be pretty freaky.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a
dolphin
1,200-pound
can
animal
easily kill you,
fucking
Or rape you.
nudging you in the water. You're like, what the fuck?
Dude, they will. That's a true thing.
They are rapers.
They'll rape you, yeah.
They're
Didn't
rapers.
you tell me? I think you told me that story, Jocelyn.
I think we
had
verified
somebody
it
on
while
the-
on the air. Someone verified it.
Somebody on the show was talking about how
Yeah.
they, like,
Well, I was saying
were
dolphins.
brutally attacked.
How did we get on animal rape?
I don't know.
Because
Good Lord.
Jocelyn
Dolphins
told a story,
can
somebody
rape
told
you.
a story about
See,
don't dolphins. I think we had the story about dolphins having recreational. One of the few species that'll have recreational
Right.
sex. And then somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I also heard that they'll rape you."
but we had a guest on the show who was attacked. I'm not saying that there was an actual,
Rape. Dolphin rape.
Like you didn't, I mean, like
Right.
finish. But like, I don't know if that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the qualifiers are, but I know that there was the board shorts were still intact.
Well, I know what the qualifiers are. I'm just having
Right,
and I really don't
Right.
want to. I mean, it's pretty
Fucking
freaky, actually.
shit.
Right. See,
Uh.
here's the thing. When I joined the Marine Corps, I was totally ready. Now, keep in mind, I was 17, and I was ready for like Higgins Boat Beach, Iwo Jima shit. Like that's right. I'm ready for that. When we're talking about the amphibious landing type of stuff, okay?
Right.
I'm gonna scurry down a fucking cargo net. We're gonna be bobbing and weaving, break surf,
Right.
gangplank.
Saving
Where
Private
am I?
Ryan shit.
Right. Where's the quick release on this fucking Ilby? Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right.
I'm ready to do Quombat. Shark infested waters in Onslow Beach. You can fucking have it. That was not in the commercial. Okay. I wanna slay the big flaming
Like
stone dragon guy.
right.
That's me,
pulling
that
out the
guy.
sword and I'm slaying the
Right.
fucking dragon.
Well, I was just going to say, so when you graduate boot camp and you get out of SOI and your first week in the fleet, you're about to go do some training and you're waiting in line to get your 5 blanks, for some field exercise. That's when everything starts crashing down around you and you
Right.
start realizing that you're not going to die in a blaze of glory today and you're not going to land on some foreign beach from a Higgins boat. And none of that crap is actually going to happen. And that's when you get the real big letdown.
Right.
But there's some cool stuff though.
Oh Lord. Dude.
Ugh.
I saw the best picture earlier today. It had a Marine in his dress blues with an NCO sword. And, and it was fitting, of course, being the birthday. But it had like 3 steps, and it was step 1, buy a sword. Step 2, name it kindness. Step 3, kill people with kindness.
That's a good one.
You're just like, yes. Dude, I had a sergeant major who when he took like Top Gun at sergeant's course or something like that, and the gift or whatever, the honor, the award was an NCO sword, and he immediately takes it back to his barracks room and starts sharpening it. And he's like, this is fucking bullshit. Like when it doesn't, it doesn't work out the way that he thinks it's going to work out, right? And everybody starts laughing at him and shit. And he's legitimately pissed off. He's like, this is bullshit. They give you a sword that you can't even fucking kill anybody with? I thought this was the Marine Corps. You know?
Yeah, it's not sharpening quality steel.
Right.
So
right.
try sharpening it, you're just going to make it fall apart. Although you can get one, and I know where.
Hell yes.
I'm not going to tell you.
Hell yes.
I'm going to tell you.
What? Why would you not get those folks to sponsor the show? I would love to get a Conus kill with a fucking NCO sword. Wouldn't that be the shit?
I was in Tokyo with my family on vacation one time, and we were stationed in Okinawa, and there's a sword shop, Japanese swords, katanas and stuff, samurai swords.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is badass. I'm gonna spend like
shit that you're cutting the roof off a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they cut those bamboo rug shit thingies to demo it on cold steel. They're like,
yeah.
Cut a man in
I'm
half.
like, my wife and her sister and my little girls, they're going to go shopping. And me, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to look at swords and I'm going to have a great time. Right. So I'm in there for a while. And dude, there's thousands of swords in this place. And they're all along the wall. They're in the display cases. They're everywhere. And there's everything from like new manufactured swords, from like modern artists that are trying to recreate the same works of art that the old samurais made, the old sword makers, but they're modern, right? So they're brand new.
Cool.
So you might get one of those for like a couple $1,000s, right? But there's no emotional attachment to those things because they're brand new.
Hello.
But then you got the ones that are like they're actual samurai swords, but they're maybe they don't know who made it, or the guy who made it was like just a nobody, or the family that owned it, wasn't really anybody in particular. So that's, it might be an old sword. It might be a couple hundred years old, but it's only worth $1,000, a couple $1,000, right? Or they've got swords that are, they have some provenance. So maybe the family is well known, or some famous shogun or something, or whatever, or maybe it's a famous maker, and so those things, they can get up there like, around $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, right? Depending on what it is. And then you start getting into the things that have like special significance. Like there are certain sword makers that are considered, like the actual sword maker is considered a national treasure, even though he's dead. So all the stuff that he created all those things are considered national treasures. So if you have a sword that's made by this particular guy, or if it was made by whoever, but it was owned by a particular, really famous person.
Yeah, like freaking Miyamoto or somebody like that, or fucking Musashi.
So there's two different levels. There's
Are you making up Japanese sword artists and names?
No, I'm not, dude.
Hitori Hanzo swords. Are we like? I'm just sitting here picturing Uma Thurman, wandering through.
The fucking name,
right?
Yeah. Like, I'm probably butchering the name, but that guy was like one of the greatest swordsmen ever.
Can you imagine how fucking pissed your wife would be if you were like, all right, listen, I took out a second mortgage, but hear me out. Listen, hear me out. Kids, I don't want to hear it. We're canceling Christmas. Hear me out. This is a fucking Hitori Hanzo sword. It's like yellow and black. Look. Oh.
Appreciate the value.
She would use it to turn you into a eunuch. I'm telling you right now, that's what would happen. Whoa, she'd go crazy 88 on your ass. That's what would.
Timmy didn't buy him a sword that day.
Right, exactly. Just window shopping, boys. Don't want to keep my balls.
So, to wrap this up, there's two categories of like really, sort of restricted access. In other words, I can't remember what the first one was. You could buy it, but you could take it home with you as a non-Japanese citizen, right? And then there's another category that's a step above that, where it's like, no kidding, a national treasure. And it's funny that the Japanese will let you buy that sword,
but you can't have it.
But you just can't take it home. it can never leave Japan. So I I can buy one of their national treasures for $100,000, but I can never take it out of Japan.
Solid.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in Japan,
a solid investment.
So if you're in Japan, can you fondle it unmercifully, or do you have to?
Well, it's pretty sharp, so you might want to be careful about that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, if you chose to break it, then that's what he's getting at, because it's like, all right, well, I'll just buy it and throw it into an incinerator and just be like, see you later, guys.
I think if you were to do anything like that, they would probably jail you.
Oh my God! No, they can't. You bought it.
If you managed to get out of the country before they found out that you had done that, they would probably send somebody out to kill your ass. And if they couldn't find you, you would never be allowed back in that country.
They'd break out some old school ninja shit on you and fucking
send
the ninjas after you.
Yeah, but it was pretty amazing though. I'll tell you what was impressive to me was that you could actually buy a really, really freaking nice sword that was like literally older than our country. You know, like a 400-year-old sword you could buy for $5,000.
Right.
You know, that's pretty awesome.
I'd be interested in seeing a comparison of like strength test between the old swords that are supposedly super high quality and the new swords that have modern equipment. See which one. Is it the ancient craftsmanship? Is it the folding and folding and folding in time? Or is it the exactness of machinery?
Justin's like,
magic.
Let me test this out, and starts banking it off shit.
Ping, 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 ping.
Well, I tell this whole story
sword fighting with steel beams
to get around to where you can get a really badass Marine Corps NCO sword.
Oh yeah.
So there is a blade maker in Japan, a commercial blade maker, that back in the 60s, they actually were in the running to get the contract to make Marine Corps NCO swords for the Marine Corps. And they ended up not getting the contract, but only because it was so expensive. Quality-wise, they were far and above the best pick. But all these other makers, you know, like Sheffield in England and Solingen and all these other, you know, like European sword makers, and then there's the cheap-ass American ones and stuff like that make these reproductions. Anyway, this company from Japan made this really, really nice NCO sword, and they have an example of one actually sitting in that store. And when I saw it, I just about freaking had a heart attack, man, because I was like, ooh, that's an NCO sword.
Right.
And, you know, the guy, obviously, he recognized that I was a Marine because, you know, I'm an American in Tokyo and with a short haircut, right? So what else am I? And so he took quite a lot of time to show it to me and try to get me to buy it. It's for sale. It's like I think they want like $1,600 for it or something like that. But it's been sitting there since the 1960s. I think it's as old as I am. I think it was made in like 65 or 67 or something like that. And no one's bought it yet, but it's there if you want it, and you can sharpen it. It's got a nice blade. Nice blade. Anyway, there you go. There's a tip on a freaking sharpenable NCO sword
That's
that you
gnarly.
can slay dragons with and
Just
stuff.
fuck somebody up with.
Yeah. Who would have thought you'd see something like that in Roppongi in Tokyo, right? In a Japanese sword shop. It's pretty cool.
Shit's crazy.
Oh
shit. So the funniest part about this last ball that Tim and I went to is, first off, it wasn't exactly a Marine Corps ball because it was fucking dry.
Yeah.
First off, it was dry until we met the Colonel.
This guy's awesome. The Colonel had it going on, man. The Colonel
had it going on. He was a cool dude. I'm not going to say his name, but he was a really cool dude. Him and his wife sat with us at our table, and my wife's like, or actually, we're like, so, you know, you having a good night so far? And he's like, yeah, except for this, besides the fact that this place is fucking dry. That's exactly how he said it.
Nice.
He goes, this party's fucking dry. And we start laughing, and we, you know, and this guy's a full bird colonel. And I'm like, okay, this guy's awesome. Right. And
Jager
he goes,
bombs.
well, I think I know a guy that's got a little something that he brought with him on the side just in case this happens. So literally like 3 minutes later, he slips my wife under, to the side. He sits there and slips her this freaking baggie with a plastic flask in it full of fucking vodka.
What was the name of that thing, dude? It was a brand.
Dude,
You
it was
could buy
so
them.
cool.
What was it called?
It was like a collapsible folding like flask shit.
Yeah, it was like a like a water bladder, like for your
Yeah.
Water bladder, like a mini water bladder, but you filled booze. It was
only it was small and you could like slide it in your pocket.
Yeah,
so no one would ever know.
So anyway, he had, he slipped us that, so it wasn't so dry.
Boozers.
It wasn't so dry anymore.
There you go.
It was pretty good. It was fun. Really cool to walk through the museum like with no one else there.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing about the whole thing is literally Tim, myself, and my wife, and then the Colonel a little bit later had the entire museum to ourselves. Like we were the only ones walking through. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah, so here's a plug, man. If you've never been, if you're a Marine or you know anybody that's a Marine, or if you have any connection to the Corps, and you haven't been to the National Museum of the Marine Corps, you really got to go.
You're fucking wrong.
Yeah, you're just wrong if you haven't gone. It's in Triangle, Virginia, right outside the main gate of Quantico, and so you don't have to go on base to get to it. It's just right outside the gate there, and it's awesome. It is a great museum, very well done, impressive as all get out, and you could literally spend all day long for several days in that thing. It's
and the scary part is they're actually like doubling the size of the museum now because they're adding OEF, OIF areas, and they're literally almost doubling the display space.
Yep.
So it's going to be even better. It's going to be ridiculous.
There you go. Hell yeah.
So I think wasn't the Iwo Jima flag on display?
Yeah, the actual flag from Mount Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I was there, it was on display. That is fucking awesome. It is powerful seeing that thing.
I'll tell you the most powerful thing that I saw, and Tim might agree with this, is the wall that's got an EGA and a anchor.
All the USN anchors.
All the USN anchors and the EGAs on the wall. One signifying each death at Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
And you just like run your hand across that thing. That's like fucking unbelievable.
And that's just one battle.
Right.
One battle. Yeah.
Real.
And it was this entire wall.
I mean, and I've been there before. I've been there before, but there's just
there's so much to see and to do in walking around.
Yeah. Well, that was my third time I think being there, and they have changed it every time. There's new stuff that I didn't see before every single time I go, and so they've got a deep well of stuff in the back warehouse or whatever that they keep updating the displays, but I mean it's freaking awesome, really really cool museum. And one of the cool things I like about it, outside you don't even have to go inside the museum, but they've got this walkway through the woods, and it's like a memorial pathway that you can walk along, and there's all these different memorials that different units and associations from different units from different eras have placed along this memorial walkway. And I mean it's cool. You got units and associations from like World War II era, Korean War, Vietnam, all kinds of different eras and stuff, Beirut, whatever. And there's all along the walkway, and it kind of goes through the woods up the hill. And then there's like a little chapel up at the top of the hill, which is really cool. And you can have ceremonies in it, you can get married in it, you can do whatever. It's really really freaking cool.
You been back yet?
Yeah, I'm back.
There he is.
Yeah, I got caught out.
Technical difficulties.
Anyway, yeah, something I don't know. It was weird.
It's all good. We're still flowing. Dude, it's cool that you guys wound up doing that. How did that come about, going to the Museum of the Marine Corps for the ball?
Well, it's once again, it's one of those things that it's because I actually do stuff with Wounded Warrior, and one of the representatives asked me if I would do it for this event. If I would be the moderator and get up and ask, get up and do all this stuff with all that stuff. So it's kind of cool that they did it, but it's not like a huge freaking deal. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's fantastic, man.
I think if we do it next year, we're gonna get with them in advance and do it the Marine Corps way. Because
the cake cutting was not done the Marine Corps way. And it was a little annoying, but at the end of the day, it was still fun. And, the food was good. The cake was good. They actually got a cake from Charm City Cakes.
That's the guy with the TV show.
Yeah, the Ace of Cakes, Duff. So, that was really good. And the cake was gorgeous. But, if we're going to do it, and if they, if we do it next year, then we're going to do it the complete way. So
there you go.
Well, we'll make it right. We'll fix it for them.
Exactly.
They had a great band, too.
Pull out the drill card. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I threw up in my mouth a little bit there. As I said that, as I was talking about drill, and maybe some people boxes. That is something that I dodged.
So they had some Army captain singing the national anthem, which was cool. He did a good job.
Major, actually.
Nice.
Major. Was he a major? Yeah, he was a major. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Were you guys, when you were in, I myself was never a part of the Marine Corps ball ceremony, but when you were in, were you ever a part of the actual ceremony?
Oh, yeah.
No,
so,
I wasn't.
Yeah, I was several times. One year I was the narrator. 1 year I was part of twice, 2 different times I was part of the gauntlet, the sword detail.
Yeah.
1 year I was one of the cake escorts, and 1 year I was the freaking oldest Marine.
Yeah, you are a fucking cake escort.
Shut up.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on though. Without sounding like a jackass, are you the oldest Marine present right now?
Yes, he is.
Duh. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm the youngest Marine present right now, and you went to boot camp the day I was born.
That's so awesome.
So I'll grab a piece of fucking cake and belly up.
Wait, Justin's older than you?
Oh yeah.
So
really?
what's really cool though is what are the chances of that shit? Like,
right?
We're business partners. It's fucking weird, man.
When's your birthday?
It's one of those.
When's your birthday?
July 6th,
it really is
1986.
Are you kidding me? The day I went to boot camp.
Yeah, man, we were in receiving at the same time.
That's freaking funny. Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, you were in receiving in the hospital, and I was in receiving at freaking San Diego. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little creepy, man.
It is, but it's fucking cool as shit.
It's crazy, dude. It's nuts. Yeah.
That is kind of cool, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. So we've got an entire single generation gap going here.
Yes. Yeah. An entire lifetime.
It's fucking amazing, is what it is. It's amazeballs.
There you go.
Yeah.
No big whoop. And
no
I graduated. And I graduated boot camp 2 days after the Marine Corps birthday in 2004. So yeah.
You graduated in September.
Yeah, I graduated. Let's see, July, August, September, October.
I didn't miss any holidays because it was in the summertime. I don't have any.
I graduated November 2. I think it was November 3rd. I want to say.
Oh, yeah?
I don't fucking remember.
Well, it was
no, it would have been the 21st, November 21st, 1992.
Every time I hear a Marine say I don't remember something like that, I always think stolen valor. I think that dude's a liar. There's no way you don't remember the day you graduated boot camp.
Yeah, I do. Right? I do remember. I had to think about it though.
See, I remember this distinctly
my fucking mind's
because
tainted.
Yeah, I know. From the Army, they screwed you up.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's all fucked up. But I remember that date, especially today, because it's the Marine Corps birthday. But that was the first time. So, like, my introduction to the Marine Corps birthday was in boot camp. And right at the end of boot camp, you know what I mean? Which was very special to me. That held a huge amount of significance. And we did a lot out on the parade deck.
Nice.
You know, with everything and stuff, which was cool. I got cake, I think.
What?
Is that right?
What? At boot camp?
Is that... Well, you got to remember, man, I graduated 2 days later, so I'm trying to remember if that was... No, I want to say we didn't get cake. Fuck, I can't remember. Because, I mean, we literally, you know, we graduated November 12th.
Yeah.
And walked off, so... Yeah, I can't remember. I want to say that we probably ate pretty well. Seeing as how we were third phase all the way
in the
at the
sandpit
end.
the morning of graduation. In our Charlies.
Fuck that.
We always wondered why they had us get 2 sets of Charlies ready. And then we found out.
Right?
They thrashed the hell out of us in the sandpit in our freaking shiny shoes and our nice clean pressed Charlies. Sand everywhere, rolling around,
that's
blah blah blah.
awesome.
And then they gave us like 30 minutes to go in and clean up and put our other set on. That was funny. That's life.
You look back on that shit and those island hopping campaigns are fucking epic.
Yeah, in the backyard. Yeah.
Where you just fucking go from pit to pit to pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember one time my drill instructor was so fucking pissed he had us all run by and spit on our own guidon. And I was like, this is gonna be fucking bad, dude. This is gonna be bad. And oh dude, and it was. It really was. Oh dude.
There's no way that ends well.
Yeah.
Holy Christ.
Oh yeah. You knew something was fucking brewing deep, and he goes out there. I mean, this is my senior drill instructor. Rocking like, everybody has
and you know, if you ever caught it in the senior, it was always the worst just because that shit was just fucking.
Oh yeah.
You really fucked up then.
Yeah.
Yeah, for him to lower himself to take the time to do that.
To just tear your
that's
ass
what juniors are for.
Ooh, fuck, man.
And there was
we had like a fourth hat.
There's no holding back.
We had a fourth hat who was actually a gunny.
Wow.
And he, oh my God. For him, he was like the, the kinder, gentler freaking guy. But I remember we pissed him off one point. Whew. And he put a fucking hurting on us. I mean, for fucking hours, man. From the fucking quarterdeck to the pit to running fucking, it was just horrible, dude. I have nightmares about that shit still. Holy fuck. Because a lot of the shit that I went through, with recon and the indoc and all that stuff, kind of like overshadows all that shit.
Right.
But that smoking might have been the worst one I got in the whole time I was in the Corps. Because he was fucking just holy fuck. I can't even remember what we did, but he went gangster on us. Like you know what I mean?
This is gonna be bad.
Went like old school gangster on us.
He grabbed a swagger stick.
Like we had raped his sister or something.
Oh shit!
And oh my God, he was swearing.
There you go. You broke bearing. Now you're fucked. He broke
bearing, and you're fucked. Because if you heard him swear, you're like, oh. I remember looking over at the fucking because I was the first squad leader at the time. I remember looking at the second squad leader and mouthing, just going, fuck, and
oh no,
it was fucking on.
Oh no,
shit, horrible.
Did you? Okay, so like at the end of boot camp, at the the very last night or whatever, we had the gong show. Well, then the next morning, the J belt or whatever. I don't even know if he was that. He was like the Buddhist drill instructor, right? was going to wake us up the next day. Okay, and all these DIs right now are like foaming at the mouth right now, and I could give a fuck less whether or not I know your goddamn nomenclature, so suck it. But our drill instructor pulls us over near the guide rack the night prior, and he's like, listen, you're gonna fuck with this guy big time. And he starts going through all this shit that we're supposed to do to this poor bastard who is the Buddhist drill instructor, right? So we stack like mattresses up against the hatch, and then we just start like each one of us basically had a costume. I had like a glow belt on, like a sash. My cover was backwards. Sock over my my wedding tackle, right? Stark naked, like one boot on, standing on my footlocker. I mean, it was just, each one of us were all fucked up. So this dude comes out as if he's just, it's like, 05:30 or whatever the fuck when they wake you up. So he opens the door just raring to go, and all these mattresses fall in, and you can hear him in there, but it's muffled, and he's like, what the fuck? And we're fucking dying, right? Just dying, laughing online. He's scrambling, kicking over all the fucking mattresses. He's like, you think that's fucking funny, huh? We're just dying. But we're trying to hold bearing. And he's just coming around screaming. And he's freaking out so incredibly bad. And then, like, puts two and two together and realizes that dude's naked. And that dude's wearing a Garrison cover. And that guy has his alpha blouse on and nothing else. Like just an alpha's jacket on. And you're like, oh my God, he's shirtless. He's like Winnie the Pooh in Service Alphas. This dude, he lost it. So he starts laughing. Everybody's freaking out. We're like, what the fuck? And he's like, he stops. His face gets real red. His eyes look like they're going to bulge and pop out of his skull. And he's like, fix it! And then just runs back into the duty eye. It was so bad. He's like on the phone. He like calls like the other drillers are like, what do I do?
They're like,
what do I do? Oh yeah. Oh, dude, our drill instructors were so fucking happy. They were dying, man. They thought it was the funniest goddamn thing. I guess supposedly one of them was out there with a fucking cell phone. So I haven't seen that video before, but old boy was like peeking in the window. Like, I guess all the drill instructors were lined up. I didn't see him, we were too busy fucking off. We're like, oh my God. Fix that! And then he had to... Keep in mind, he had to storm back over top of like 8 mattresses that we stacked up against the door so that he could kick them all out. He's like, trying to kick all these mattresses out of slams that finally, dude, oh man, it was so fucking hilarious. It was so good. Dude, you guys like that one? And the Gong Show? We had a recruit stand up and go, this recruit requests knowledge, sir. And the drill instructor's like, shoot, whatever. And the kid's like, these recruits cannot be, IT, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, you're done. It's over, blah, blah, blah. So he stands, relaxes, just throws his hands at his side, looks over at the fucking, kill hat, and he goes, I have never been IT'd. And my drill instructor fucking loses his mind. Grabs the footlocker in front of him, just throws it down the goddamn squad bay. And we're all looking around like, who the fuck is this kid? I have never seen this recruit the entire time I've been here. And the kid just stands up. I have never been IT'd. Oh my God, dude. You would have thought that drill instructor walked in on you banging his mom. He was he was offended. He was fucking, the kid looked at him dead in the eye and said, I have never been IT. Oh, Jesus. It was so bad. And then the senior drill instructor has to take him into the duty hut and calm his ass down. Hey, it's the end. By the way, you fucked up, and this kid squeezed through the cracks some way, somehow.
Well, it would have been a lot better if you said this recruit has never been IT'd.
Yeah, but that's what made it so great, is he was standing there at parade rest, locked and cocked, and then was like set. This recruit cannot be, IT, blah, 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 whatever. No, you're good. You're fine, whatever. And then just back on the block, snaps. Just like hands at the side, 1 foot forward, cock back, chilling. I have never been IT'd. And just, oh my God, like the balls. The balls. Right, exactly. Thank God he wasn't wearing silkies. Jesus, those brass testicles of his would probably throw sparks across the room. My God. But honestly, we had no idea who the fuck the kid was. I still, to this day, couldn't tell you what the kid's name was. I have no idea. Did you ever have that
graduation book from boot camp? Is he in there?
You know what? I should look.
Did you get a graduation book from boot camp?
You know what? I don't know if I did. I know that I got a fucking SOI picture. I don't know if I got a graduation or like a C book from boot camp.
Somehow
I don't think I ever got my deployment book.
Freaking metal wall locker.
What's that?
I got pushed down the stairs in a metal wall locker.
Fuck that. Wait a minute, in boot camp?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I got burned with a fucking iron.
Yeah, you're a recon, duh. Welcome to the suck.
No.
Wait a minute, you got pushed down the stairs?
In fucking boot camp, the drill instructor was so pissed because I kept putting my ass in the air. He actually took an iron out of the fucking closet there, plugged it in, and said, "Put your ass in the fucking air again."
Might explain what it means when you have your ass in the air, because that might have different connotations to someone who hasn't been there.
Whatever.
You're on the quarterdeck doing push-ups.
I was on the quarterdeck doing push-ups.
Yeah.
And my ass went in the air.
Yeah.
That's
so
fine.
you weren't like backing that ass up or anything.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And
Well, I got another birthday story we hadn't even talked about.
Uh-oh.
Bennett's got to go tonight.
Probably the best, well, not the best, but the most interesting birthday ball ceremony I ever had was at Fort Benning, Georgia. And I was a student at the static line jump master course. And for the third time, because it took me that many times to graduate. But so the detachment.
I'm sure your students feel very good about that.
My students,
but
well,
now you're a master.
Not now. You're people that you were teaching how to do shit.
Well, once you graduate, you graduate. That's it. Doesn't matter how many times it takes, right?
True. Gotcha.
No, so if you didn't know this, the attrition rate for static line jump master course is ridiculously high. It's higher than sniper school. It's higher than BRC. It's freaking really high. Anyway, so I did eventually graduate, and while we were there, it was obviously November, and the deck commander was a colonel at Fort Benning, and he came down and interrupted class one day on November 10th and said, "I need to see all the Marines and any FMF corpsmen that are in the class." And we're all like, "Okay, cool." It was a boring class, so we get up, and he takes us into another room, and some gunny walks in with a freaking cake, and next thing you know, he's reading the order, and we're all standing at attention. Next thing you know, he's cutting cake, and everybody else is sitting in the classroom getting this damn boring-ass class about doing jump master personnel inspections or something, and we're all in there stuffing our faces with freaking birthday cake. It was awesome.
That's pretty funny. Hell yeah.
And we sang the Marines hymn, too. Like
Nice.
a cappella. It was pretty cool.
That is fucking cool.
That is cool. I think 2007, when we had Guinness and Camper Motti. That was cool. 2 beers each, gents. We're on our way home.
2 beers each.
We literally, the rip was over. We were going to be in Camper Motti and fucking, remember that? The GP tents? Dude, they stuffed us in there like goddamn, oh, that was awful. Stunk to high heaven. It was like being in a stockyard. Yeah, man, birthday ball. It was, it was funny though, because similar thing to what Tim was talking about there with the cross section of the 2 services, we had a brigade commander who came in. He didn't preside over, but he wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to acknowledge the Marines, and our work there and so on. So it was cool. And old Roger B was like, you guys can have 2 beers. Yep. It worked out, man. It was cool. It was good. Those giant
So it just goes to show you, no matter
gym.
where Marines are, in every climb and place, we'll find a way to celebrate our birthday.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
There are guys right now in the hills of Afghanistan who are maybe not passing cake, maybe not necessarily having steak and lobster, another staple of this day, to celebrate our surf and turf.
What's that? They do.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where it's like, I'm sure that they're probably sharing sea stories and hanging out and wishing each other a happy birthday the way that we do every year. You know, it seems corny, but fuck, man, I really look forward to it. It's one of those things. I look forward to it more than I look forward to my actual birthday.
I concur with that shit.
Yeah.
And
I think this is probably, I think I probably speak for all of you when I say that for those guys that are out there in harm's way right now in Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria or wherever they may be today, this cigar and this sea story is for you guys, gents.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's one of those things to where it's like you got to stop and think. And every Friday, I remember everyone deployed, as I'm sure a lot of other veterans do and stuff, but we do this because we remember the smoke pit and what it was like being overseas at that moment in time. I don't know about you guys, but every once in a while, I kind of miss furniture made out of sandbags and being able to just say really fucked up things with your buddies under a cami net, you know? And it really sucked at that moment in time, but you only had each other. And that's what's so cool about the Marine Corps birthday is our core, you know, one day or 1 year further into history. It's cool.
Yeah, man.
Oh, God. Semper Fidelis.
Yeah, man.
Amen.
All right. Gents, I really appreciate you sitting down. It's like really fucking late on the Marine Corps birthday. It's like not about to be the Marine Corps birthday anymore.
It's about to be Veterans Day.
Right, now it's about to be Veterans Day. Hey, let the celebration begin.
And just some thoughts and ideas for how to celebrate Veterans Day. A good friend of mine that I served with many, many moons ago has invited me to basically eat chow with him for every meal and snack throughout the day tomorrow. And we're going to go around town and get it for free because you can do that shit on Veterans Day.
Hell yes.
Because this ain't like sucking off the government shit.
Exactly.
These are businesses that are offering this to us. And this is capitalism and Americanism at its best.
Right.
So,
hey, listening audience, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit subscribe. Please rate and review the podcast as well. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. Honestly, they make the show, helps us frame up and tailor who we have on next, and frankly, improve the show on how we can make things better. Because we want to do it for you guys, because you're awesome, and you pay attention and listen to us, so thank you. And you can follow us on Stitcher, Player FM, or iTunes. You can also hit us up on Twitter at Cigars and Sea. Again, that's at Cigars and Sea on Twitter. That's also our Instagram handle. Check us out on Facebook, where we post crazy shit all the time, and we hope that you like it. So, yeah, happy birthday, Marines. Semper Fidelis.
Semper Fi.
Hoorah.
Semper Fi, bitches.
Cue the fucking music.